Welcome to Around BCC. I'm Keith Tebow. We are pleased to be beginning our 11th season of this program, where we look at the people, events, and academic programs at your community college, Bristol Community College. And has been tradition in the past, our first show of the academic year, we spend a good deal of time with BCC's president, Dr. John Sprague. Dr. Sprague, thank you for joining us, and Happy New Year, like you like to say this time of year.
Happy New Year. You know, you mentioned the 11th season. It's my 11th season as well. Just completed 10 years as president of this great institution.
Talk about that. That was going to be my first question. You just finished your 10th year. Are there times when it may seem like it's been 10 years, but other times it seems like, boy, I just started?
It does. It does. I can't believe the 10 years have flown by as quickly. We've been very busy and very excited by the initiatives that have been undertaken and the progress that the college has made, and it's an honor to be associated with this wonderful team.
Let's get right into some of the exciting and some other news that's happening here at BCC. I guess we should always start with some of the good news. Enrollment apparently is up this year. Maybe not as high as years past, but that's still a good sign that students are choosing BCC as their educational choice.
Yes, absolutely. We have been used to double-digit increases, but it's great to have an increase. Remember, each increase is over a record for the college from the previous year. So for all 10 years that I've been here, we've set records. In fact, in those 10 years, enrollment has increased by over 70%, 71% since when I first arrived. And that's wonderful, because that's our mission, is to provide access and opportunity to the residents and citizens of South Coast.
Now, when you're out and about and you're promoting Bristol Community College, what are you hearing about, maybe from parents or even some students who may not necessarily have questions about BCC, but may have questions about how to jumpstart their college career? And how do you relate that to selling BCC? Well,
there are a couple of different populations that you're talking about. The parents and the students in high school or homeschooling, their jumpstart comes from our dual enrollment programs and a number of activities that we have here at BCC. And it's a wonderful way for students to actually get involved in college work. So I highly recommend dual enrollment. The other population is for students already here, and this is a wonderful way to begin your higher education career at affordable cost. Some of the costs at other institutions are, to my mind, I use the word obscene. They're $50,000, $55,000 to go to 1 year of college. So the affordability of any community college, but certainly Bristol Community College, is a highly attractive feature for parents and for students, and for, as you know, we have a number of adult learners, so you don't have to be your parent to tell you to go. People decide for themselves to come, and it's a great way. You can go, and then you can even transfer. I tell people you can go anywhere from BCC, right. So you can transfer to those $50,000 colleges if you're so inclined, sure. And essentially you get your baccalaureate for half price at those schools. But we have wonderful partnerships with all of the higher education community, and not just in Massachusetts, but in New England. And of course, we have a special relationship with UMass Dartmouth and with Bridgewater State.
Getting back to enrollment, you know, when one of our first years here, again, I started the same year you did, so it's sort of, I'm in my 11th season as well. Yeah. One of the first initiatives that had gotten started before you got here was the New Bedford campus. Yeah. And since then, the Attleboro Center is now open, and there are classes offered in Taunton and New Bedford Voc Tech. Was it somewhat of a surprise to you to see those enrollments go so high? I mean, Attleboro is still close to double digits from the last information I saw in terms of enrollment. Was there, you know, you probably thought that it would work, but did you think it would be so successful?
Well, that's a good point. I knew it would be successful, but I really didn't gauge the amount of people that have actually come. It's been wonderful and heartwarming. In fact, we're out of space in Attleboro, we're out of space in New Bedford, and we're out of space in Fall River. People continue to come to Bristol Community College, and that's wonderful, because the complex society that we live in today, you need a higher education credential to get a job. It used to be 8th grade, it used to be high school education. Now it's you must have some higher education compatibility and degrees and credentials that put you into the job market. So if people can't come, you can't, and not everyone can afford $50,000 to go to those schools, but if people can't come to the community college, the most affordable sector of higher education in general, then they're doomed. They really are. It's going to be very hard to find a living wage.
And one of the good things is this college and other community colleges in Massachusetts have gotten strong support from Governor Patrick as well as federal officials. Yes. How important is that that they understand the affordability issue and the accessibility issue of community colleges?
Well, you know, the governor has been just wonderful, and I always say it's a bully pulpit that the governor can use. Whenever the governor speaks, people listen, whether you agree with his politics or not. And so to have the governor come forward and talk in such glowing terms about community colleges is wonderful for all of us because it elevates our status in the Commonwealth. And then similarly, there's no bigger bully pulpit than the President of the United States, the presidency. And President Obama has been also absolutely glowing in his praise with putting $12 billion with a B billion-dollar proposal out on the table to support only community colleges, just for community colleges. So we're very grateful that they're, and the money may be 11.9 billion, it may be no money, but the important thing is that the president is talking about it, the governor is talking about it, and that reverberates around the Commonwealth. Before
I get to the budget news, which we always discuss every year, I want to talk a little bit about some good news. Yes. The New Bedford campus, there's some exciting initiative. The eHealth Careers program, there's a building, as we speak, still being constructed. The walls are going up. Yes. We were actually out there a couple weeks ago doing some filming. Talk about how that's going to benefit the college. Oh, it's a wonderful opportunity for people in the community. And once again, that's our job, is to provide access. As you know, our health career programs are high in demand, and in some cases we can not satisfy the demand. We just have so many spots that are available. So this is a golden opportunity for us to expand something that the community needs desperately, and that is healthcare workers. The healthcare providers, not just hospitals, but all the providers, are desperate for trained professionals in the various fields. And this new initiative with the Princeton Review, it's a public-private partnership. I believe it's the wave of the future. Who comes to you nowadays and says, we have money? You said we're going to talk about the budget later, and that is not good news. So who has money in this day and age? And that is the private sector. And for the Princeton Review to step up to the plate and help us and offer to meet this community need is just remarkable, and it's a great opportunity. Yes, the tuition is higher than our normal healthcare programs, but we do have financial aid packages that can help offset that, and it is an opportunity. Otherwise, the door was closed. We only had X amount of spots for nurses or for dental hygienists, and now we have more opportunities available throughout the healthcare programs. And right now, enrollment is very good so far. Yeah, and with the planned beginning of the program, October 4th, I believe, is the date. Yes, we have over 100 registrations already and another 100 interviews scheduled for the month of September. So there is some interest being generated. All right, let's get to the budget. We all know that state finances, it is what it is. Difficult times for the state and the country, and it's still being impacted in all sectors of society, personally and through government. But BCC was fortunate over the past year to be able to survive and thrive and grow and to be involved in some of these initiatives and growing some programs. Back in March, the governor came down. Yes. And provided the college with some stimulus funding to allow the college to continue its great mission, and allowed you to make some very important announcements in terms of not only staffing here at the college, but also tuition and fees for students. Yes.
Yes, we made a pledge based on, again, there's another example of the governor's great support for higher education in general and community colleges in particular. Based on his support, we were able to make the pledge. I wanted to say we're not going to have any layoffs. Our BCC family is our most precious resource, and we have to keep it together. This is the third straight year in these difficult fiscal years that I have made that pledge, and I will hope to continue it because we've seen what happens elsewhere. I never want to compare our situation with other institutions, but there have been layoffs, and people have to govern their institutions the best way they can and what's best for them. But this is very important to me. And the second component, as you mentioned, we have not raised student costs for this year, and that's another important thing. In this fiscal times, everybody, working families and students, have not the money to keep up with increases. It's not that we'll never increase again, but we'll certainly do it very thoughtfully and very carefully after thorough vetting. But again, we have the governor's support, and as we move forward, this has been a roller coaster since those March days, the heady March days when things were looking very good because of the stimulus money. Then it was taken away, and then it was tied, of all things, don't ask me how, in Washington to Medicaid money, and now that has been resolved finally, and we have been restored to some extent. And so I'm very optimistic about our budget situation for this year. In fact, I'm so optimistic, well, I announced at the convocation that we would have 10 new full-time faculty positions that we're able to add. We also have been suffering, in addition to faculty positions, there are positions that are not been filled across the college in other support areas. I refer to that as an underground deficit. We've had a deficit, financial deficit, and we've had to make do, but the strain and the cost across the college, I don't think is well appreciated. People have had to pick up extra work and longer hours and volunteer their efforts at a time when it is a trying time.
And you know, you mentioned BCC as a family. BCC is the BCC family, and we all agree with that. How important was the family, you know, making the sacrifices? And a lot of people, as you mentioned, work longer hours to get the job done. And the goal is, you know, you always say the main thing, which is the education and student needs. How important was it that the family also understood the severity of these financial times, and that the family, you know, picked itself up by its bootstraps, if you will, to make everything seem somewhat seamless in terms of the operation here?
Yes, it's been very, very seamless. It's been almost invisible to the students, which is the important thing, because the support services remain, and of course our outstanding faculty serving the students. But you're right, it's been a strain. People have, and you know, in addition to the dwindling budget, we have soaring enrollment. So business is booming, but our budget's being cut, which is against the business model, I would think. So I'm very grateful to our family. I've taken every opportunity that I could to explain to our BCC community and BCC family the situation, where we stand, what the prospects are, where we've been. It's always important to look at our history, and people have been very understanding. I'm very grateful to the way that they have pulled together in this crisis.
As we begin a new academic year here at BCC, what are some of your goals for this academic year, and how do you see them being achieved?
Well, my goals stem directly from our strategic plan. We must improve the workplace, and I'm trying to move out more shared governance, and with shared governance goes shared responsibility. I've made a big point about that in our opening convocation. But I'm eager to move into strengthening our support services even further, and advising and placement testing, all of the wonderful activities that we do. We have a tutoring center, a writing center, a math lab, a reading lab, and with the burgeoning enrollment, we need to further strengthen those services and expand them. And of course, as you mentioned, we have New Bedford and Attleboro that we want to expand those services there as well. So all students are getting the full benefits of a BCC education. So that's pretty much my main emphasis this year. Of course, there are others, and we need to raise funds and through our development office and work on that as best we can, further strengthen our student support in the classroom, outside the classroom, but also inside the classroom as well.
How has the budget situation impacted students in terms of financial aid? You mentioned the development office, the foundation, and the Alumni Association that has always stepped up to the plate to help students with scholarships. Has there been any more decrease from government sources for financial aid, and has the foundation and other funds made up that difference?
Yes, well, you know, the late Senator Kennedy, Ted Kennedy, was very instrumental in expanding the Pell Grants, financial aid for our students. You may recall last spring at convocation we awarded the late Senator Kennedy with our first honorary degree, and we hope that in the near future Mrs. Kennedy will come to the campus for a reception and for a ceremony to award the degree to her directly. But getting back to the financial aid, he was very instrumental, as was Congress, in expanding the Pell Grant. So the cap now is at $5,500, which is significant, and it more than covers the costs for Bristol Community College. So we're very happy about that, and as costs go up, it's more important to continue to be out in the community, trying to raise funds. We've had some generous donations from community leaders, and I'm very grateful for that. You know, your previous question about the BCC family coming together, a remarkable statistic is the percent of employees who are giving and donating to our foundation, which in turn goes out to scholarships for our students. And it's been wonderful in these trying times for people to step up like that when they're under hardships themselves, and they realize the importance of education.
And obviously in these tough times, the demand is increasing. So it's important for the college to do its best, I would assume, to meet that demand, because again, you don't want to see students fall through the cracks in any way.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. And we're very grateful to our advancement office and all of the wonderful people that serve, volunteers serve on our foundation board, our BCC Foundation, and as I said, I can't say enough about the community donors who are very generous, as well as the inside our own BCC family.
Well, President Sprague, I want to thank you for your time, and I appreciate it, and Happy New Year, and we'll talk again between now and next May.
Looking forward to it. Happy New Year.
Time now as we continue with Around BCC to begin another year of our look at successful alumni in our community with Alumni in Your Community.
Hi, I'm Denise Launer, graduate of BCC in 1995. I grew up in Westport, Mass. All my life I've lived there. I grew up on Sanford Road, and my father was a graduate of BCC. He went there for increasing his potential as a police officer. My sister also went to BCC for nursing, and she is a nurse now, and she loves it. I went to Westport High, and I graduated in 1981. It was a couple of years before I started going to BCC, because I actually went to Kinney Campbell Business School for travel tourism in 1982. Graduated from there, and there was no jobs or anything, so that's when I ended up deciding to go to BCC. The company I was working for at the time, Imperial Chemical Industries out of Dayton, was paying for my classes as long as you got a good grade. You got an A, they paid 100%, B 80%, and that's how I started going. I ended up having to pay a few classes myself because in between jobs, and then I got another job in the seafood industry, and they were paying my classes. I went to BCC for 7 years part-time. I was working full-time and going part-time, and it was a really cool place to go. I mean, it was, you know, it wasn't an uptight place. The teachers were really nice. It was a nice place to go to school. For one thing, any business, you need to know accounting. So I figured that was to give you a broad span of possibilities. And my mother, I had worked with several jobs after school when I was younger. She always worked in an office, and she would get me part-time jobs in the summer or after school. So I had a little bit of the background and, you know, was getting into it and decided to further it. I thought it would be a little tough, but it wasn't. It wasn't. I mean, especially where I was going at nights. I think maybe if I had gone back and gone at day with people who are all younger than me, it might have been a little weird, you know. But at night, everybody is all different ages. You know, it's people go at night, or most of them are working during the day, and you just get a real, there were some younger ones, but it was a good variety, and everybody was there for the same reason. So everybody got along. I never had a problem with anyone. It's not a huge campus. It's, you know, a little low key, so things were easy to find. You didn't get lost, you know. It was just comfortable. After I finished that, I went for my computer certificate in all different kinds of computer, not programming, but programs itself, using them, and Excel, things like that. And I finished that also through BCC. In '95, I graduated. I was working for a company, Blue Gold Mussels, which really did some cool things. They had an aqua farm over in Rhode Island, which I thought was really cool. Never saw anything done like that. They seeded all the things on ropes, and I worked there. I worked there for like 10 years, and after that, I started my own company with two friends who are actually back in Europe now. They're from Europe, doing lobster cakes and seafood spreads. We had our own company called Marine Gold Cuisine. September 11th put a damper on that. Our biggest customer was John's Gourmet, and he lost like 36 customers. So that put us out of business because we had just started, and you know, we couldn't afford the capital. So after that, I was out of work for a little while, and then I got a phone call from the accountant that I used in both of those companies and asked me if I was looking for a job. And I said, yeah, why? What do you got? And he called me and said, I got an interview with Tishan Seafood, and that's where I'm currently working now. I've been here for 10 years. It'll be 10 years next month. And I started working with a gentleman. This office was a little more crowded. There was another desk in here. And then he spanned it off, and now I run the accounting for Tishan and also 4 other companies that they actually have. We have fishing vessels that fish for scallops. We have a labor force company. We have a leasing company. They own property around the area. And it's very hectic and very different. It's real different from what people know about an office. It's very crazy sometimes. I've been married for 21 years to my husband Ray, and my baby is my little pit bull. Where is he? This is my baby Shane. He's a little red-nosed pit bull, and I don't care what they say about pit bulls. He's the most lovable thing. He'll lick you to death. Like I said, I've lived at this house 17 years. Right down from the high school. I love living in Westport. I don't think I could ever live in the city. I love living in Westport. 5 minutes from the beach. I love helping out. I mean, the college helped me out, so I think I should help out and give back a little. And so I'm friendly with Jane Ash. She calls, and we help out my company to give seafood for different fundraisers they had. Last year it was a gala, and it's for a lobster basket. This year we're going to do it again, but I'm also going to give scallops myself so that they can have scallops and bacon. And I've gone to quite a few of the fundraisers just to interact with different, you know, other alumni. I just learned so much. I mean, as far as accounting, I mean, there was just so much I didn't know before. I mean, yeah, I was working in the field, but I was basically just the person behind everybody. And now I'm able to be the person everybody's under in my department, you know, and it made a big difference. I mean, I wouldn't have never gotten this far without the education that I got there.
When we talk about the opportunities for faculty, students, and staff this coming year at Bristol Community College, a lot of the focus tends to be on the Fall River campus. However, there are equally exciting opportunities awaiting students at New Bedford, Attleboro, and Taunton.
Staff in New Bedford is gearing up for the launch next month of the new eHealth Careers program.
The public-private partnership will allow up to 250 students to take part in an innovative learning experience within a number of health-related fields. Teresa Romanovich, Dean of the New Bedford campus, says everything is on schedule to start October 4th.
We to date have over 200 in our pipeline, 100 of which have already been admitted, and we're working with the other pool in terms of applications and so forth. And the model is to blend on-site education with online education. So it's kind of a unique model for students to be able to have health career programs in that kind of a venue. So it's a pretty exciting launching for us.
In terms of the other academic offerings in New Bedford, Romanovich says there are some exciting new opportunities awaiting students.
We have a couple of new degree programs at the downtown campus and expanding in terms of early childhood education, and we're continuing to expand our business offerings and our general studies programs, our general education courses. And we have several grants that are growing as we speak. We have our Wise Woman grant, which is a program for individuals who are on transitional assistance and looking for support, and I think we might have talked about that once before. And we have our JET grant, which works with paraprofessionals. We also have a Head Start to College grant that's supporting individuals in the community. We have a reentry grant for individuals who've been behind the wall and now want an opportunity to come out. We just expanded our offerings within our Brownfield training program, and these are individuals who are in the environmental program who want to work on brownfield training sites.
Enrollment growth continues at the Attleboro Center. Dean Kathy Torpy-Garganta says there will be new staff added to aid students in the enrollment process, as well as a new staff librarian and library technician. She also says that the facility's tutoring center will have a new home.
We've been able to secure about 15 computers that is going to help us reorganize our entire tutoring area. So we're moving upstairs to the student lounge area. So it's going to be a little bit on the idea of what is in the Fall River Library, where they have computers right within a open area. So we've brought it upstairs where many of our students currently use the student lounge cafeteria area in order to study. And so now tutoring will be up there. We're hoping to add a few more hours to our writing center, where students can be able to use any of these services, tutoring, writing lab, all for free. So we encourage them to really come and meet some of the new staff and take advantage of our additional hours.
Students who plan to take classes in Taunton will have a new location to call home. Beginning this fall, classes will now take place at the Benjamin Friedman Middle School.
It's the most modern school that they have. It's the newest school. The classrooms are beautiful, they're big, they're spacious, and I think that everyone's going to be really happy. We also extended the hours that we have. Last semester was so successful in Taunton that we've now added 4 o'clock afternoon classes, so it would be 4 to 6:40 on Mondays and Tuesdays, and we added an additional evening classes on Thursday night. So now students can come and take 2 classes if they choose, Monday and Tuesday 4 to 6:40, and then hop into another class from 7 to 9:40, or they can go Monday through Thursday 7 to 9:40.
For more information on the academic offerings in New Bedford, Taunton, and Attleboro, please check out the BCC website. That'll do it for this edition of Around BCC. I'm Keith Tebow. We leave you today with a look back at the student orientation held late last month. Thanks for watching.